Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kira, and welcome back to this Element Yoga series. Today's class will be a grounding flow inspired by the element of earth. This is one of my favorite elements to work with. So for this practice, you might want to have a set of blocks and a bolster, or just a large cushion, maybe from your couch. For a restorative shape, we'll do at the end. And if you don't have those things, don't sweat it. Let's find a comfortable seat to begin. So bring yourself to Sukhasana. We'll be here for a couple of minutes, just dropping in. So you could sit up on a blanket or a block if you prefer. And we'll begin with a mudra, or a gesture called Bhumi Parshva, which means earth touch. So bring your left palm face up in your lap and bring your right fingertips to the ground beside you. Let the fingertips touch the earth. And this is a gesture that you'll see in a lot of Buddhist iconography. This is one of the Buddha's kind of go-to postures. So just settle in here. You can close your eyes or just soften your gaze down. Take a smooth breath in through your nose. And exhale out through your nose. And begin to tune into your surroundings. Try to sense the texture beneath your fingertips of your mat or your carpet or your hardwood, whatever you're sitting on. And sense the stability beneath your seat. And bring your awareness to the very base of your spine. And imagine from there grounding cords or vines moving down the legs, out through the feet, connecting you with the earth, as if you were a tree person. Take another smooth inhale, feel the breath rise and swell, and then exhale the air down and out. Inhale, feel the breath rise and nourish you. Exhale, feel the breath move down and out through the feet. So the earth is the downward flow of energy. Earth element is about stability and structure. And it's that stability and strength that's found in a sheet of metal or a rock, and also your quadricep muscle. So the earth element is around us and in us. And an aspect of earth that's important to look at is that it doesn't like to move. So that's great if you're, needing to call on a sense of steadiness or conviction in your beliefs, but not so helpful if you've got too much earth and you're feeling stuck in a mental rut, or even if you have, a chest cold and you have too much mucus in your lungs. That's an example of too much earth. So as yogis, we're always seeking to balance the elements within us. Take one more deep breath in. Then empty it out. And keeping the eyes closed if you feel comfortable, just bring your hands to your knees face down and begin to find circular movement with your torso. And just feel your seat rooted and your body starting to revolve around that base, around that central axis. Go the other way. And sometimes when I do this, I like to think of my pelvis like a big bowl of soup, and my spine is like the ladle that's stirring that pot of soup. So nourishing circular movements round and round. And then eventually bring yourself back to the center here. Open the eyes now if they're closed. Let's take a side bend. So bring your right hand down to the earth and reach up and over, but keep your seat lifted. Yeah, there's a tendency when we side bend to kind of blow away, but keep the seat rooted. Inhale. Exhale. Now lean your lifted arm back so you feel a stretch through your chest. Take a big breath in. On the breath out, reach towards the right corner of your space. Inhale again, lean back, open up through the chest. Exhale, diagonal reach. Inhale, lean back, open up. Exhale, diagonal reach. Lean back, open up. Side bend to the other side now. So let your left hand find the ground, reach up and over. Let the head and the neck relax. And then lean the lifted arm back in space. Inhale. Exhale, reach toward front left corner. 2 more times. Inhale, lean back, open up. Exhale, diagonal reach. Inhale, lean back. Exhale, diagonal reach. Lean back and now sit tall and find your way to tabletop position. Cat and cow. Let's tuck the toes for today so we begin to wake up the feet. Earth element is all about the feet and the lower body, the limbs that connect us to the ground. So take an inhale, find your cow, belly drops, throat opens. Exhale, cat, spine rounds, chin to chest. Catting and cowing. And spread your fingers, really feel the parts of you that are connected to solid ground. And as you come into your cow pose, feel how you can kind of drag your hands back to pull your chest forward and deepen your cow pose, and then press the ground away to find more depth in your cat. Pause in cat pose. So that's the one where you round your back and then hover your knees off the mat, hovering cat. So we're gonna build some strength here. Start to find your breath. And if this is ever too much, knees can come down. But we are gonna try to hold this for about a minute, build some strength, light up the core. Stability challenge for you here is to try to lift the right toes off the mat and keep the hips level. If this is feeling good and you wanna go a little further, try to hover your left hand up, and you can see I'm like struggling to keep my hips level. Good, and then switch, come back to center, left toes lift, right hand lifts. Breathing through the effort. Take this one more time each side. Just flirting with your edge, like that place where you start to feel kind of unstable, and switch. And then where you regain your balance, your steadiness. Very good. Knees down, child's pose. Hips to heels, malasana. Back to tabletop position. Let's get into the hips. So I'm gonna face you just so you can see this, but you don't have to move. Bring one leg out to the side in line with your opposite leg knee. So you're almost in like a low warrior 2, but your hands are gonna stay down. And then start to sink your hips back in space, but walk your fingertips forward. So you should feel this in your groin of the bent leg. And then just start to sway a little bit side to side and breathe into the hips. Working with the breath to flush held tension out of your muscles, out of your tissues. Come back to tabletop and switch. And we'll call this our crouching lunge. Hips move back, fingers reach forward. And that tension of opposites creates some space in the middle. And as we ponder this element of earth, start paying attention to the experience of stuckness in your body, right? Those parts of you that don't want to move, and get curious about how to dislodge anything that feels like it's stuck and could benefit from movement. Okay, back to tabletop position. Lower yourself down onto your belly now for cobra lifts. So on the belly, bring the hands alongside the ribs and press the tops of your feet down. Inhale, pull the chest forward and up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift, Bhujangasana, elbows hug ribs. Exhale, lower. Again, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Press yourself back. Tuck your toes, seat to feet, and come into downward facing dog. So first, downward facing dog, start to pedal through your legs. If you are watching me, I'm just gonna share, I'm dealing with some allergies where I am, so I'm modifying a little bit. I'm not putting my head down all the way, but let your head and neck relax in your down dog. Start to walk your feet to your hands. Forward fold, top of your mat, heavy head, soft bend in the knees and grabbing opposite elbows, ragdoll. You can sway a little side to side. Just feel that pull of gravity, the downward flow of energy, pulling your skull down in your upper body and lengthening your spine. So that's earth right there. Release the arms. Make sure the feet are hips width distance or wider, and then bend the knees for chair pose, Utkatasana. Sitting low in your chair, interlace your fingers and press them up and away on a diagonal. And then begin to circle your chair. So stay low in your chair and start to circle the upper body. Breathe as you do this. And let this unstick your side waist and your back and hips and go the other way. How low can you stay as you circle it out? This really builds heat quick. Good, and then stand all the way up. Release the arms by your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. So, observe your mountain pose. Look at your feet, and with a neutral lens of observation, just see what's going on with your feet. So notice if they're kind of turned out or a bit turned in. And notice where you place your weight. Like I tend to really lean towards the inner part of my foot. Some people lean towards the outside of their foot. Is your weight more in your toes or your heels? And if you can't quite sense this just from observation, go home and look at your sneakers and all will be revealed. You'll see how they're worn down on one part of the shoe. So let's find even ground. Lift all 10 toes and really root down through the 3 points of your foot. So those 2 points at the top of the foot and then the heel, that little triangle. Feel the triangle of your foot, root down, lift your low belly, lift your heart. And then let the toes relax, but keep that sense of rooting down and reaching up through the legs. Breathe in, breathe out. Beautiful. Now turn your toes slightly in, slightly pigeon-toed, and then bend the knees and imagine you're sinking into quicksand. So bend the knees as much as you can, and then begin to slowly press the feet into the ground and lengthen the legs, but don't come all the way straight, maybe 90%. And then inhale, bend the knees, sink into the quicksand again. Exhale, lengthen the legs with resistance, not all the way straight. Inhale, sink into the quicksand. Exhale, lengthen the legs, press the ground away to come up. And keep this going. So this really charges up the legs. By pushing against resistance, we activate the strength of the legs and find some charge. So you should be feeling your quads by now. I know I really am. Let's take about 2 more of these. Whew, this might get a little bit shaky. That's okay. It's just energy moving. And then bring your feet back to neutral and just pause and feel into the legs. You can close your eyes and sense your legs. Hopefully they feel more activated, more awake. Open your eyes now and steady your gaze straight ahead for tree pose. Let's plant a tree. So 1 foot down and the other foot will come to your calf or your inner leg and bring hands to prayer to start. And really root down into the standing leg foot. Like imagine you could widen the surface area of your foot. Almost like it was like a platypus foot, really wide, really steady. And then switch. And once you feel stable, you could give the tree some branches here. Lengthen the tailbone down and stretch up through the crown. And just feel the sway of your tree, right? Everything that's alive isn't static, it's moving, it's dynamic, even if it's steady. And then release. Come to the top of your mat. Let's take one sun salutation to flow back to down dog. So the sun salutations remind us that the origins of yoga are rooted in a reverence for the natural world. Surya Namaskar is a ritual to give thanks to the sun, our source of energy and light. So let's take one round of sun salutations. Inhale the arms out and up. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the neck. Exhale, step to plank. And you can move through a chaturanga or skip it or modify it. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Spread your fingers a lot, really press through your inner hand. And then lift onto your tiptoes, lift your sits bones, and press the chest back to the thighs. And then allow the heels to drop. They don't have to touch the ground, but just feel like they want to. On your inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Just let that yawn some space into your hip. And then step your foot between your hands and spin your back heel down, warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. And then get steady. I always like a somewhat wider stance with my feet so I can really feel them stamping and anchoring down. Inhale. Exhale. Hinge forward at your hips so that you're lengthening through the spine on a diagonal. Keep the bend in the front knee. Then bring your right arm back. Feel the back of your neck long, strong legs, and then switch the arms. And switch. And switch. And imagine you're in a slow motion sequence in a movie here. Strong rooted legs, just upper body moving. The next time your left arm is forward, pause, open into warrior two. So windmill your arms open, Virabhadrasana two, and just land in it. Inhale, lengthen the front leg, but not all the way straight. Bring the arms overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Remember that feeling of sinking into quicksand. And then inhale, lift up, but not all the way straight, and sink into the quicksand. Charging up your legs. Good. Warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the front leg. Now a change here. Skandasana, side lunge, back of your mat. So back knee bends, front leg straight. You can take this high or low, whatever is comfortable for you. But see if you can keep your chest proud and lifted here. Finding the quality of sitting up even though you're sitting down. Inhale. Exhale. Spin to face the back of your mat, runner's twist. So spin onto the ball of your back foot, right hand down, left arm up. Really press that right hand into the earth and stretch up, peeling your chest open. Inhale. Exhale, lower left hand. Spin your back heel down for modified side angle. Bring the left forearm to your thigh like a shelf and stretch your right arm up. And feel here how this left forearm rests on the thigh, but if you're kind of chilling there and sinking, can you use the structure to find more lift, ascending upward? Inhale. Exhale. Wide-legged forward fold, parallel your feet so you're facing the long edge of your mat, Prasarita Padottanasana. And the first time, let's just bend one knee and then the other and kind of shift it out side to side, getting into the inner legs and just challenging the joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips. So they wake up, spin back to face the front of your space, Vinyasa flow, or just press back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. And then you'll step your foot between your hands, warrior one. lock in your steady gaze. And then really lock in the outer blade of your back foot so that when you hinge forward and reach on a diagonal, you feel really stable here. Now stretch your right arm back in space and then switch the arms. Fierce gaze ahead, switch the arms, keep breathing. Switch the arms, whoo! Glutes and quads are talking to me. Next time the right arm is forward, pause, warrior two. Open it up. Settle, land in the pose, and then lengthen the front leg. Reach arms up, but not all the way straight. Inhale. Exhale, sink into warrior two. 2 more times. Inhale to lengthen and reach up. Exhale, sink into warrior two. Inhale, lift with resistance. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, lift up. Skandasana, back knee bends, front leg straight, high or low, Skandasana. Inhale. Exhale, spin around to face the back, so all 10 toes face the back of the mat. Runner's twist. Left hand down, right arm up. Hello again. I need to have like a camera on my other side so I don't have to have my back to you. I missed you. One more breath. Lower the right hand, now spin your back heel down for modified side angle. Right forearm to your thigh, left arm stretching up. Really wrapping that right glute underneath. So much structure and steadiness in the legs to allow for that space in the side waist. Last breath in. Breath out, lower left hand, wide-legged, forward fold. So parallel the feet. You're facing the long edge of your mat. This time you're gonna hold here. So you might just dangle. If your hands don't touch the ground, use blocks. The more the body feels supported, the more it will agree with us that letting go is safe. You might grab your ankles here. But whatever you do, try to bring a little more weight into your toes and your heels. So you really lengthen and open the hamstrings. Take one more breath in. And out. Climb your way back to face front. Step to plank. Lower the knees. And then lower onto your belly and forearms for Sphinx pose. Fairly gentle back bend, Sphinx. So roll the shoulders down the back. Pull your chest through the gateway of the arms. And feel your legs long behind you. In Sphinx, I often visualize my spine like a slinky. You know, it's like this circular coil that you can pull and arc up, and there's all this good space in the middle. So that's your spine, ideally, in a back bend. Take one more breath in. Breath out. Cactus the arms and bring one cheek to the mat. Just lay down, palms face down, and just feel the solidness underneath you. Sense the temperature of the ground. And then moving slowly, just turn the other cheek. Feeling an ear to the ground, as if you were listening to the earth for secrets. It's so underrated just to lay on the ground as a way to calm your nervous system. It's something as adults that we don't do. Can feel a bit strange, but try it. It's very, very soothing. Take one more breath here. And let it go. And moving slowly, bring yourself back to tabletop. And walk your knees together and tuck your toes, toe stand. See if you can sit hips to heels. If this is way too much, you can have your hands on blocks. but give it a go. Really important that we stretch our arches and open our feet for good balance and just to sense where we are in space. We've got to sense our earth connection. If this is feeling okay, we're going to add some shoulders, bring the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, eagle wrap. One arm underneath, Garudasana. Pull the elbows forward. Feel the shoulders spread apart. Breathe in. Breathe out. Unwrap the arms. Inhale. Exhale, eagle wrap. Second side. Pull the elbows forward. Breathe into the back of the heart. Inhale. Exhale. Unwind the arms. Bring them forward. Untuck your sweet toes. Sit hips to heels. So this might feel like more than enough. If you want more sensation, bring the hands behind you and see if you can lift the knees for ankle stretch. Compressing the front of the ankles. So a little bit goes a long way. I've been doing this for a long time, so don't rely on my pose as a, where you should be. And that goes for every shape. Yoga is such an individual, personal practice. Okay, that's enough of that. Come forward to hands and knees. Find your wide tabletop again and just tap your feet down. Make some noise, get some blood flowing to your feet. Okay, tuck toes, hips lift, downward facing dog. And just notice how this down dog feels compared to that very first one. Hopefully finding a bit more space and stretch at this stage of the game. Look forward and now step your right foot behind your right wrist and your left foot behind your left wrist to find a squat, malasana, yogi squat. So we are going to park it here for a little bit. If a squat doesn't feel sustainable, sit on a block or two blocks. Don't suffer through it. Give yourself the structure so that you can relax in your shape. And breathe way down into your hips. And bring awareness to your feet. And imagine that your feet had little roots coming out of them that are burying and digging into the earth, and you're sucking up nutrients from the earth into the feet, up through the legs, up through your whole body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Open the eyes if they're closed. Let's take a twist. Bring one arm down and stretch the other arm up and away like a wing. So if it is in your practice to take a bind here, you're welcome to wrap that bottom arm around and look for the interlace of your fingers, but you don't have to. Open chest. Breathing way down into the belly and the hips. Release your pose and switch. Opposite arm lengthens. Arms spreading wide away from each other. So option to take a bind or not. Another shadow side, we'll call it, of earth is stubbornness. So playing with earth element can invite you to examine that in yourself, right? Steadfastness, loyalty, all good representations of earth. Stubbornness, not so good. Release. Whew, okay. Let's lower to a seat. So you might do that hands free or not, find a seat. We'll continue opening the hips, square pose. So many variations of this hip opener. So option one, you can cross ankle to knee. However, if that causes some knee pain, you're just gonna take a cross-legged seat. If you're able to get here, but there's a lot of space like there is in my body, become a builder. Fill in that space, okay? And then if you're gonna come into a cross-legged seat, I recommend not crossing your ankles because we're gonna fold forward. So fold forward wherever you are. And I find when my ankles are crossed, my little ankle bones start to poke after holding this for a while, so this version is more comfortable. If you're able to come down with ease, you might rest your forehead on a block here. And we're going to take about 10 deep breaths. As you hold your shape, stay interested in where you feel it. The shape targets the outer hips, but also the lower back. And keep noticing with your loving awareness what feels gripped or held. And bringing the intention to soften. Soften into the structure as if your muscles were just sort of releasing their grip on your bones. And take one more breath. And then come on up. Let's take some windshield wipers before we switch sides. And just tick-tocking the legs side to side to get the blood flowing through the hip joint after the hold. And then we'll switch. So find your opposite shape, either ankle to knee or crossing one leg in front of the other. And be curious about asymmetries in your body. The hips are a very large joint structure. They do a lot for us, which means there's going to be a lot of asymmetry in our experience of them. Another element of the wisdom of the earth is acceptance of variety and asymmetry. You know, what's so beautiful about nature is that trees aren't all created the same. Leaves don't all look the same. Snowflakes don't all look the same. You know, I said at the beginning during our tree pose that the nature of being alive is being dynamic versus static. So variety, as they say, is the spice of life. So love your tighter side. Take one more breath in and out. Really good. And then come on up. Let's come onto our backs for happy baby pose. You can reach for the outside of your feet or your shins, maybe the back of your legs, and breathe into your hips. And then bring the knees together, bring the arms out wide, double leg twist. So let the legs just flop to one side, let your head drift towards the opposite side. And then send the knees over to the other side. Come onto your back, pull the knees in, rock and roll yourself up to sit. So we'll end our practice today with one of my favorite restorative shapes called Stonehenge. If you don't have any props, just come into Shavasana. Otherwise, take your blocks on their highest setting, about like 4 to 6 inches apart, and then you'll take your couch cushion or your bolster on top. And you're going to bring your legs onto this platform. So I usually look for that place where the crease behind my knees connects with the cushion, and then I come onto my back. So this is a super soothing shape for the low back. And you can kind of scooch around until you feel your low back settle. This also relaxes the psoas, the hip flexor group, which is one of our very earthy prehistoric muscles that contracts automatically in times of stress or fear or anxiety. And Stonehenge allows the psoas to relax passively. And as you take this final rest, observe the parts of your body that are connected to the ground already. And those parts that are lifted away, like the backs of your wrists, back of your neck, maybe the low back, and just call in the feeling of heaviness. To release another layer into that steadfast support underneath. Please feel free to stay in Stonehenge for as long as you like. The pose, not the tourist attraction. But if you need to move on into the rest of your day, just slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, wake those up and draw the knees in. Just remember your legs are propped, so you'll want to clear your Stonehenge as you roll to one side. And as you're ready, join me in a comfortable seat, and we'll end how we started. Bhumi Parshva, left palm up in the lap, right fingertips touching the earth. And even if you live in a city like I do, just remember that the feeling of steadiness, nourishment can be found just by putting your hand on something steady, something real. Thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me today in this practice. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what your experience was like in the comments below, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste.